you guys in D.C. created this problem with the EPA, with the Department of Education, with all these departments that are screwing the American people. And then when things get out of hand, you step up in front of a camera and say, we have a problem. It's not our problem. We're not up there voting on this stuff. You guys are made this problem. And it's all because none of you have a respect for this document right here, this Constitution. There is a gentleman up there in D.C., my understanding is every year since he has been there, he has introduced a bill that every piece of legislation, before it can be voted on, has to show where it gets its constitutional authority. Yeah. Nobody is getting on that bandwagon. That's what we're insisting on. So my question is, since nobody up there will get on that bandwagon, and since, like climate change is now the new slogan for global warming, would you be willing to sponsor a bill that says that no longer can the judicial system look at case law or precedent to decide a case, but that they have to throw out 200 years of case law, and let's go back to the original and compare it to this Constitution and see if it holds muster there? Would you be willing to sponsor a bill that says that?
No, you wouldn't want to do that.
Tell us why.
Yeah, tell us why.
Why is it that the Constitution is not good enough to decide whether or not something is constitutional, that we need case law to say that 50 years ago a similar case was decided, and this is what the judge, who is a human being, he's fallible, made a decision, and 50 years before that somebody else made a decision that that judge used, and the only way we're going to get back to this is for somebody to have enough guts to do it. And if you're not, and I'm not trying to be mean to you, but if you're not going to have enough guts to stand up and protect, preserve, and defend this document, we will find somebody to replace you that will. And that's why I'm asking. It's not a threat, I'm asking. Will you have the constitutional courage of our forefathers, the conviction to stand for this? Because what we're seeing now, Bob, doesn't stand. It doesn't hold muster. So, I'm sorry, explain to us why we wouldn't want to get rid of case law.
Because you'd have chaos in the country.
We don't have chaos now.
We got that now.
No.
We don't have chaos
now.
We've got chaos now, Bob.
No. Here's what you get. And this is going to sound like a law school lecture, okay? So,
that's fine.
And it may be a little bit boring. But it's like this, the Constitution is very important to me, and it is the thing that we should always go back to. The Constitution had a hole in it.
Where?
In the question about who gets to interpret the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And in a case called Marbury versus Madison, the Supreme Court says, we'll do that. Mm-hmm. And the Congress, in the House and the Senate together, and the President of the United States said, okay, you do that. It's not in the Constitution. Mm-hmm. It's not clear that the Supreme Court gets to pass on the constitutionality of laws. And so Marbury versus Madison just established the principle that the framers missed. By the way, that's why, as a Christian, I believe the Bible is inerrant and infallible and the only guide to faith and practice. But that document has some holes in it. And one of them was Marbury versus Madison plugged.
Another one was term limits. That's a big hole in it.
Yeah, and so there are things that are missing in it, right? And so if you threw out all the case law, it really would be, first of all, it would be a lawyer's full employment act. I'm arguing against my interest here because I should leave Congress. I should be happy if you tossed me out in that case because I would go become a litigator and make $1 bazillion because we'd need a lawyer on every corner to figure out all these questions that would immediately come up. So, how do you handle the internet, for example, in the midst of the Constitution? Because the Constitution was written long before the internet existed, and so there are all these questions.
What you're saying is we're so far gone away from the Constitution, there's no turning back.
No. I think that it's this: a great constitutional republic, which is what we are, has the ability to correct itself. But we got to find the principles and then apply them to new things that they didn't envision, like the internet. And amazingly, it works. The principles were laid out in a simple fashion. And then, because they were, we are able to build on it and understand how to deal with the internet, right? Pretty amazing, really.
But the enumerated powers, Article 1, Section 8, is pretty clear.
Well, the one that I think is most clear is the 10th Amendment. And that's the one where we've got the trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Is that powers not delegated to the federal government are reserved to the states. And if so, you don't specifically say in legislation why you're enacting this and prove it, you have the ability to do that under federal powers, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Have you signed on to that bill?
I got to find out what that bill is. In fact, Wayne, will you help me find out what that is? Because if I haven't gotten on that bill, I will, because that's an important concept. And it's actually on the list of
It's been introduced for the last, Dean, help me out here, what is it, 15, 18 years?
Something like here, yeah.
Well, I'll find out about that, because that is something that I'd like to be on if I'm not already. I can't tell you as I stand here all the bills that I'm on. There are a lot of bills, obviously, but I want to make sure that I'm on that one because it's what I believe, and it's what I want to fulfill.
Right. Have you signed on to the audit the Fed bill?
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, appreciate that.